I want to talk about something that comes up in therapy constantly, especially after people have kids, and that's mother-in-law dynamics. I don't mean the cartoon version, not the super evil villain, the eye-rolling jokes, or the she's just the worst memes. I mean that very real tension that shows up when family roles shift, emotions are running high, and nobody really knows where they fit anymore. Because once a baby comes into the picture, everything changes for everyone, including grandparents, especially for mother-in-laws. This is one of those topics where everyone feels misunderstood. New parents feel scrutinized, overwhelmed, and judged. Mother-in-law usually feels punished, like she's walking on eggshells. Your partner usually stuck in the middle, trying not to fail everybody. We hear about this all the time in therapy. I'd honestly say it's one of the most common relational stressors postpartum, right alongside resentment towards your partner and feeling emotionally overloaded. For lots of you, it feels like this. You're already stretched thin, you're figuring out your own parenting instincts, you're exhausted, and suddenly it feels like someone else is watching, commenting, or second guessing how you do things, even when it's subtle, even when it's well-intended, and that can feel so invasive. On the other side, many mothers-in-law are experiencing their own kind of loss. Their role has changed. They're no longer the primary caregiver, the expert, or the one in charge. And for some, especially those whose identity was deeply tied to motherhood, they feel destabilized. So what often happens is this weird emotional collision. One person's trying to establish autonomy and confidence as a parent, the other's trying to stay connected and relevant. Neither is wrong, but both often get hurt. Then there's your partner. Because this isn't just between you and your mother-in-law. Your partner's navigating loyalty, guilt, obligation on both sides. There's somebody's child and someone's partner. The tension can show up as avoidance, defensiveness, trying to keep the peace, which makes things worse. Lots of people come into therapy saying, I just want my partner to handle their parent, or why can't they see how hard this is for me? And at the same time, their partner is thinking, I feel like I'm constantly choosing and everyone's upset. So when we talk about managing mother-in-law dynamics, I want to be really clear about something important. Other people's emotions are not your responsibility. But, and this part matters, that doesn't mean we ignore them, dismiss them, or avoid hard conversations. There's a big difference between being responsible for someone's feelings and being thoughtful about how you navigate relationships. Social media tends to jump straight to boundaries. Cut them out, say no, limit contact. And sometimes, yeah, sure, boundaries are absolutely necessary, especially if there's disrespect, manipulation, or harm. But please hear me when I say that not every difficult relationship needs a wall. Sometimes it needs context, perspective, and honest, uncomfortable conversation. It might look like slowing down and asking, what's actually happening here? Is this about fear? Is it about judgment or feeling irrelevant? Is this about me or about someone else struggling with change? That doesn't mean you excuse behavior that hurts you, but it can help you respond instead of react. It also means talking with your partner, not just about what's happening, but about how you want to handle it together. What support do you need from them? Where do you need them to step in? And where might they be carrying more emotional weight than you realize? These conversations are often awkward. They can be tense. They can bring up old family patterns and loyalties that no one really wants to look at. But avoiding them usually leads to more resentment, not less. One of the most helpful shifts I see in therapy is when people go from this person is the problem to how do I want to show up in this relationship, even when it's hard. This doesn't mean over-explaining yourself. It doesn't mean shrinking to keep the peace. And it definitely doesn't mean tolerating behavior that crosses a line. It means being intentional instead of reactive. Mother-in-law dynamics are rarely just about one comment or one visit. They're about transitions, identity shifts, grief, power, all happening at once. And when those things go unnamed, they show up as tension. If this is something you're dealing with, you're not being dramatic, you're not too sensitive, and you're not imagining how heavy it can feel. It is heavy. And you also don't have to navigate it alone or default to extremes. Sometimes the work isn't about setting harder or firmer boundaries. It's about clearer conversations, better alignment with your partner, and understanding what's actually being triggered inside of you. And sometimes having a neutral space to talk through this without taking sides, without minimizing anyone, can make a huge difference. Because from what I hear from clients, these dynamics don't just affect holidays or visits. They affect your relationship, sense of safety, and experience of early parenthood. If this is where a lot of your energy is going, no, it doesn't have to be that way. At Bloom Psychotherapy, we're all moms who have this experience, both personal and professional, in navigating mother-in-law dynamics. Click on the link in our notes to learn more.